Right, Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. Alright, before we begin, as usual, let me run through a couple quick announcements. First and foremost, if you are interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different types of spiritual readings. Telepathic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, deity readings to see what spirits, gods, goddesses, and demons walk with you. Again, not for the purpose of worshiping them. I just want to make that clear. I don't teach that. How to strengthen the relationship with those spirits, and also for you to establish a stronger connection with them and to learn, obviously, more about yourself and grow on the path of self-mastery, because that's what this is truly about. Shadow work readings, which, as I've said, is always a great place to start, because shadow work readings uncover the shadow and the hidden self, which is ongoing life work. It's something you do continuously. It's also a helpful tool when you're trying to figure out what direction should I be going in, where should I start, especially when you're trying to design ritual work, right? And as I said before, ritual work should be designed first and foremost on your needs first before your wants. Because when you're doing ritual work and addressing your needs and mastering yourself, the wants take care of themselves. Or maybe you're just interested in a spiritual consultation, which people use for just an open question and answer session with me. They usually come, have a full list of questions. Sometimes they want to focus on a specific area of interest, something going on in their life, etc., whatever it may be. But a consultation is a consultation and a reading is a reading. Two different things. All right? If you're interested in any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. That's khnum19@gmail.com, khnum19@gmail.com. If you're interested in signing up for classes, the way to sign up for classes is to go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, located at patreon.com/Baniti. It's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Go to tier 3. That's going to give you access to all of the classes. I do 3 private classes every month, in addition to a group ritual at the end of the month. And again, when you join, it doesn't just give you access from the day you join moving forward. You get access to everything in the archives going 4+ years back. If you want to see all of the different classes I offer, go on to the Patreon page, go to the collection section of the Patreon page, and it clearly shows you in there everything archived in order, labeled, and you can take the classes at your own convenience. You can attend live. That's your choice. I understand everybody can't get there live because it's impossible to find a time zone that works for everybody, but everything is recorded and archived. All right? Don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos social media pages. On Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. On Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, 1 word. And on TikTok, primordialchaos3.com on TikTok. All right? Don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, the direct link to classes, to sign up for the Primordial Chaos Patreon page, social media page links, contact email, all that information is in the description box of this video that you're watching right now. All right? So, what I want to talk about, we were talking about in the last video, kind of want to extend this. We were talking about things coming full circle, and it made me reflect on a few things I've talked about in the past. About the Ouroboros, which is a very popular occult symbol, the serpent with its tail and its mouth. That when we connect that, as I've talked about in the past, to Leviathan, with the understanding of the concept of the principle of continuity and existence. Okay? And to me, all of that is connected and related to consistency. Okay? And as I've said many times over the years, yes, on your spiritual path, the occult, the left-hand path, consistency is important. But it's really not just for that. In life, in general, if you're not consistent at what you do, you will not get results. Now, part of what holds people back sometimes from being consistent is fear of change, right? And I'm big on addressing this. And sometimes the fear of change, you're unaware of it. It's something that is embedded in the subconscious mind, because the conscious mind tends to get more comfortable with things it's familiar with things it knows. So when we talk about, and this will be real brief, there's a thing you might hear in certain circles called the superconscious, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. And if you understand how those three work, it gives you a better understanding about yourself. So when I was just about to allude to sometimes people fear change, the unknown, what I was trying to get to see, so this is what happens in general. When fear sets in on all levels, what tends to happen is your conscious mind is going to want to gravitate towards something that it's familiar with, something that makes it feel comfortable. Anytime it feels like, the best word I can describe, something, I don't know if alien is the right word in the sense of something external invading its thought pattern. So the first thing it'll do, it'll latch onto something that makes it feel comfortable. This also explains why people who may come on this path, the occult, the left-hand path, etc., and sometimes they start navigating on their journey on this path, and they get to something in their practice that activates some form of trauma in them. They might have tapped into something. It could be intense. It could be very spiritually powerful, to the point it activates a bit of fear. And sometimes what happens, and it happens, you believe it or not, on a wide scale percentage, it'll almost frighten or scare that person back into what they were doing previously. It'll scare them where their conscious mind doesn't know how to process it, so they try to go back to something that makes them feel safe or comfortable. And this is when you hear me always talking about over the years how, and I'm sure you guys have seen it and experienced too if you've been around, how you might have seen somebody who was on this path and shit, they could have been going hard, right? And you could have might even thought at one point, wow, they're really breaking ground on this path, etc. And then all of a sudden, you see them a couple months later, they're back as hardcore Christians in the church. But this time they're back even harder. They're super sanctified, saved. They go even harder because the trauma that got activated was so deep, it put them back to where they were, even worse than where they were the first time. So understanding how the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious work. The superconscious is when you tap into things outside of person, place, or thing. That's you going into your multiverses through your subjective consciousness, or some will refer to as your subjective universes. Now you're tapping into what mortal words would describe as the superconscious. It's beyond the physical, right? It's beyond person, place, or thing. The subconscious mind is the mediator between both. The subconscious mind is the mediator between the superconscious and the conscious mind. And sometimes when things are coming from the superconscious, this is how they get buried into your subconscious. Because your conscious self, or as we like to say on the spiritual path, your mortal, your weaker, or your lower self doesn't allow it to break through. It only allows things that make it feel comfortable, things that align with systems of conformity. And this is how they're able to work on people. They, meaning systems of indoctrination, peoples that promote it, religions, dogma, preying upon your fear, right? Now, to further understand what I'm saying, now you look at a lot of the major monotheistic religions in relation to fear. And remember, as I said earlier in the beginning of the video, fear is what they use. It's the number one tool, is what they use get you all out of whack in alignment. It'll affect your consistency. It'll affect you growing in a multitude of fashions, because that emotion of fear blocks every goddamn thing you can pretty much conceive. Okay? And if you look at the three major monotheistic religions, they're all rooted in terror and fear. What terror and fear? Well, if you do good, you got all these great rewards waiting for you. You got a place in heaven, and like the Quran says, rivers flowing of milk and honey, green silk robes, virgins, gold, streets of gold, like Revelation 2. And the funny thing about it, as I said before, there's nothing that these so-called supernatural places like heaven describe that's not something you can't find here on earth. Find me one element in any, whether it's the Bible or the Quran, that describes this so-called the greatest place that ever existed called heaven, that you can't find any of those elements here on earth. Why am I pointing that out? Which confirms further, these are mortal men, human beings that translated these books. But they use the art of fear. Well, if you listen, you get all that. But, oh, wow, if you don't listen, you don't follow the rules, you're going to go into a lake of fire. You're going to burn eternally. And now we get all the torture is hell, the devil, and this, that, and the other. See the game? And then they go fuck you up even more and tell you got free will. If that ain't some mental fuckery, that's crazy. You got free will to do whatever you want, but it ain't really free, because if you don't do what you're told to do, there's repercussions to pay afterwards. So technically, from a religious standpoint, you don't have free will. You must follow the rules and regulations if you want to win the game, if you want to get the pie in the sky and all the things it promises in the afterlife. But you got free will. It makes no sense. Okay? It's all confusion. It's all fear tactics. And they know. So the only way we can cipher through this, and this is why I always tell people to get a greater understanding, to get answers to certain things, you must be able to travel outside of a three-dimensional understanding of person, place, and thing. It's the only way. Right? Now, look, sometimes the reality, and I've come to this conclusion over the years, and it's just like anything in life. Sometimes just this path isn't for everybody, and they're just not going to get it. And that's why that video I did a couple weeks back, you must be mentally strong to be on the left-hand path of the occult. This is not a path for mentally weak people. And I'm not just talking about, when I say mentally weak, and when I did that video, what I was trying to explain was, if you're not a critical thinker, if it's easy just to spoon feed you shit and indoctrinate you, if you're not a person who asks questions and researches, if you're not a person who is not, I don't want to say afraid, but is not hesitant to challenge the narrative, especially when you hear something that just doesn't add up, okay, then this path isn't for you. That's what I mean when I say you have to be mentally strong. We question things. No, I'm not talking about in a disruptive, just be fucked up, crazy way. But at the same token, we're not going to bow down and back off from anything when we feel something needs to be addressed. And most of you that are on this path, you came on this path because you didn't want to be a follower anymore. You didn't want to follow all these rules and regulations that you knew, for the most part, right out the gate were dumb, right? And something never felt right about it. And sometimes, might have had a multitude of reasons. Could be family pressure and other things. We just rode with it for a while, especially when we were younger. But there was just that burning desire inside that something wasn't right. We always knew that there was something greater out there. That's the superconscious kicking in, trying to communicate to the subconscious to get it to your dumbass conscious mind. But soon as, think about when you started to first open up, then there would be this other thought that would come in, especially in the early stages, like, you think that's right? Because it's going against the things you were comfortable with or that were normal for so many years. Okay, and I'm saying this was a similarity with most of us as we made the transition. I'm not saying all of us, and it was exactly the same, but I'm trying to get you to understand why I was talking about everything coming full circle yesterday. Today, I'm more or less focusing on these three aspects: the superconscious mind, the conscious mind, well, the subconscious, and the conscious mind. Okay, 100%. So, I mean, there's reasons why this, things happen or kind of play out the way they do, because it's not a coincidence. Okay? So, again, my whole point is to get you to see, when you hear me saying over the years, this path is mental more than anything, which is right in alignment with one of the most talked about, popular, utilized more than any other of the Hermetic principle. All is mental. Mental is all. The universe is mental. And that's why I've gone hard on and off over the years about how they're trying to captivate our minds, how they're trying to take our creativity, right? How they're trying to strip our imagination away by planting what they want us to see and how they want us to see it. And when I say they, again, just to be clear, I'm not talking about no conspiracy theories. I'm just talking about the elite, the people that control the media, the people that control the finances, wealth. That's all I say when I say they. I'm not coming to no spooky bullshit, because let's be honest, this world now, in this day and time, it's about who got the power. Remember the movie Juice? Who's got the juice? It's those that got the juice is who I'm referring to when I say they. Okay? Because the rich, the greedy, and the corrupt want to become more rich, greedy, and corrupt because they want to maintain control. It's your job to recognize where you stand in the scheme of things. Either you're a conformist and you're a sheeple, and you're, as I've said over the years in the past, you're the hunted, or you're the hunter. You're the predator. And by the predator, I'm just meaning that in the sense that you're taking control of your destiny. You're taking your power and you're utilizing it, and you're taking things into your own hands. You're not waiting around for anybody to do something for you. You're not waiting to be told what to do, and you're definitely not going to tolerate being told what you can and cannot do. Okay? That's what makes this a path of spiritual freedom and sovereignty. All right? Other than that, that's kind of my connection. I wanted to piggyback off the last video. A little different, but there's a connection there. Just something I felt I wanted to share. So hopefully this short tutorial opened you up a little bit, gave you a little insight, and make you look at things a little different. All right? Other than that, if you need to reach me, again, if you need to contact me for a spiritual reading or a consultation, again, the direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, all the direct links to the social media pages, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All that information is in the description box of this video that you're watching right now. All right. That's how you get at me. All right. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Infernal blessings, and we'll talk soon.